Oh man, there's a lot of you today. I'm going to ask you a silly question. Who do you think I am? Hmm. That's right. But did you know where I got that name? We're going to find out. Do you know that in the Netherlands, do you know that's a country? My name there is Sinterklaas. But I'm known by many different names all around the world. In Italy, I'm known as Baba Natale. In France, Pierre Noël. In Germany, Chris Kringle. And in America, I'm called Santa. In Hungary, I'm known as Mikolas. And Mikolas is probably the closest to my real name. I heard somebody say it earlier. What did you say my name was? Nicholas. That's right. When I was born, my name was Nicholas. And I was born in a country we now call Turkey. And that was a long time ago. But in that country, I grew up, and my family, my mom and dad, they passed away when I was just young. And I went to a school where I got to learn about Jesus. And I trained and learned and became a leader, and they taught me how to be a bishop. Do you know what a bishop is? A bishop's like a priest or a reverend, like Reverend Randy, a leader of the church. And like a pastor, that's right. And so I trained about that. And in my training, I remembered a story. You see, when my parents died, they were very rich, and all of that money came to me. But when I remembered this story, it was the one when Jesus was teaching his disciples, and a rich man came to him. And he said, "How do I get to heaven?" And he said, "Sell everything you own and give it to the poor." Well, that message stuck with me. And so I had all of this money and nothing to do with it. So I started to give it to the poor. I made sure the hungry got fed. I made sure the poor had clothes, and I also helped the sick. Well, there was one story where this man had 3 daughters. And those 3 daughters wanted to get married, but they didn't have enough money. So I went to him and I offered him the money, but he didn't want to take it. He didn't want that kind of charity. So I went home, and later that night, I went back to his house, and I was going to give him that money. I was going to sneak it in. But I went and jingled the door, and it was locked. Well, I couldn't just leave that money on the doorstep. Somebody else might come and take it. But I did notice one thing. There was a hole in his roof. So I decided to take those 3 bags of money, and I threw them through the hole. And they went into the roof, and they fell down, and they got caught. They got stuck in something. Does anybody have an idea what they got stuck in? It was the chimney, but what did they get stuck in? Not the fireplace. The 3 girls had laid their socks on the chimney to dry overnight. And those bags of gold fell into those socks. So I bet you guess why you probably put your stockings by the chimney now. Yeah, probably not going to get a bag of gold. But anyway, now they had enough money and they could go get married. And that was just one story of a bunch of stories of things that I did with my money and gave it to the poor and helped the children. And the word of my deeds spread across the world, and that's where I got all these different names. And there were some people who were so excited about the things that I did, they decided to make me a saint. And that's where I got my name, Saint Nicholas. Okay, but that's not the best part. The best part is that they also gave me a day where everybody remembers all of the good things that happened because of Jesus, and all of the good things I tried to do because of Jesus. And they have a party and a big feast, and they have it on a day, and they call it St. Nicholas's Day. Does anybody know what day that is? Today. I heard Randy say that earlier. Today is St. Nicholas's Day. And those kids that I mentioned in the Netherlands, the little Dutch kids, today is the day that I give them their gifts. I don't do it on Christmas Eve like we do here. Do you know why? Because on St. Nicholas's Day, they get their gifts and can enjoy the fact that we're protecting the children. That leaves Christmas Eve for us to focus on the real reason of the season, Jesus. Okay. Well, that's how Sinterklaas became Santa Claus. And now I get to go and travel around the world in 2 different nights, giving gifts to boys and girls all the time and trying to bring Christmas joy. Now, I mentioned that today is the day, so I need to be going, but I do have a gift for all of you if you want one. Does anybody want a gift? Okay. Well, here, I have some candy canes, and I might need some help passing them out. Randy, can you?
Gospel lesson. When Matthew tells us the story of Jesus, he reminds us that the first people to recognize Jesus are not from Judea, but from far away. If you'd like to follow along in the Pew Bibles, our text begins on page 2 of the New Testament, Matthew 2, verses 1 through 8. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem in the territory of Judea during the rule of King Herod, Magi